Boom.
Pop.
Pow! Welcome to the Point Taken Christian Podcast, the only podcast. So today we talked a little bit about atheism, and I think it was a good talk. What was y'all's reaction to our talk? What'd y'all think?
I'm an atheist now. I'm totally convinced.
I think that we did a great job with that. I'm walking away from here right now.
No, very informative. I learned a lot, specifically from the 7-day... Oh, you guys are going to get that soon. The 7-day...
6-day creation, 1-day rest, but 7-day week.
Brilliant.
Why do we have a 7-day week?
Why do we have a
Correct.
week when you're not going to see it in nature anywhere?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first person to introduce me to that idea, I believe, was Rody Bauckham. I mentioned him earlier in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then I've just been stewing on it for a few months and like expanding it and forming it in my brain. But yeah, that's been pretty
I'll
helpful.
be researching that. I want to know
simmering,
more.
Not simmering.
Stewing.
Stewing.
Okay.
Broiling.
Mixing the meat.
I think Matt, you listeners who've been around for a while, Matt's been on probably 4 or 5 times.
Twice.
Is that right?
I think.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm 3.
One time I sat here, one time I sat there. What was the
So
third
this
time?
is the 3rd time?
Really?
Interesting.
Satanism.
3, sir.
Satanism. Did you do a video reaction?
I did a video reaction.
Okay.
That was it. Just
so this
those
is
two.
the 3rd. Okay. Anyway, the point is, Matt's perspective, former Satanist, former atheist, was very insightful to me, especially
Agreed.
when we were talking about moral relativism and all that stuff. Christian coming out from the gate, talking about intelligent design.
Huge.
Great argument.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, hope y'all like this podcast, and I hope you enjoy the episode. I have a question for you two Christians in the
Yes.
room.
Well, he's a Christian. I'm a Matt.
Yes, because that's his
Hey!
name. That's his name. You'll find that out in the intro that I'm going to film in an hour, but you have already seen it if you're watching this. Isn't that cool? Now, I know that 2 of our 3 camera people are not Christians, but that was a joke. And I just realized that people don't know them. But I got a question for you two. There are 3,000 gods. You are just one God away from being an atheist. So how do you two answer, or how do you personally answer? Because I need the Hector hat.
Oh, that's the Hector hat?
Yeah. You Christians here, now listen to me on this. Here's the Hector hat now. I just don't understand. How is it that you assume your God is right and all the other 2,999 are wrong? What makes your God so special? I'll take either one of you.
So are we arguing the existence of God or just our God?
I'll take the existence of any God for the moment. We'll get to your specific one in a minute.
Okay, so my best argument for the existence of God in general would be the intelligent design of the universe. Everything screams the intelligent design. You know, when I pick up my iPhone here, I know for a fact that it didn't just pop out of nowhere. I know for a fact that there were some smart people, much smarter than I, who put that together. When I look logically at the universe, everything has a design. Everything works together. It is a soft, delicate balance that you won't get from just a random big bang. So, not even peering into the Bible, that would be my best argument, just to look at design.
Yeah, I would have to say that I agree with that too. And I will share, like, when I was an atheist, that was one thing that stuck with me is in the back of my head, the intelligent design was there. It's like, you know, you get that epiphany when you're young where you watch your finger like, oh, wow, I'm telling my finger to move and it's moving, right? Who hasn't done that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's because of my rebellion. I mean, that's what it is, what I know that it is now. I ended up with a theory that this is something that's always been here. It always will be. There was no design. There's no end to it. It just repeats itself over and over and over again because I couldn't accept the fact that the intelligent design happened. I remember sitting in school, like evolution, they tried to teach us. Well, they didn't try, they did, right? Mm-hmm. But I just, something in my head knew that it was crap. Like literally, it had to be intelligent design or it had to always be here. It had to be one of the two.
That's a good
So
point.
even as an unbeliever, you're like, something in the back of your brain is like, there has to be some type of designer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about the eyebrows. How many millions of years did an eyebrow have to sprout out to keep the sweat from your eyes?
Yeah. You know,
Right.
eyebrows were not my number one go-to, but I'm gonna keep that in my pocket for now. That's right.
Eyebrows
You
for
know,
Christ.
Something obvious.
my Hector hat is off, by the way,
Okay.
for those of you listening.
Oh, never mind.
It'll come back on in a minute. You know, when it comes to intelligent design, there's so many routes you can go, and one way I like to word it. Now, Michael Behe calls it irreducible complexities, but his idea is this, and I think it's worthwhile. There are so many systems in our universe and in our body that only function if you have all the necessary components. His example that he uses in his book, which I have not finished yet, but I listened to his lecture on it, is a mousetrap. So let's take the platform, let's take the cross beam, let's take the little spring thing, and then let's take the actual the part that they trip. If you have any one of those components missing, you don't have a mousetrap anymore.
It won't function.
No functionality. So if you use a slow evolutionary design, what you have to have is all of those coming into existence at once.
the same time, right.
You can't have
Right.
a slow moving evolutionary digestive system. If you really study what all it takes to have a digestive system, it can't be a slow evolutionary process. The bombardier beetle, that can't be an over millions of years things. That is a mixing of chemicals
Correct.
that has to be right there at the same time.
Right, because well, think about it. Like with the bombardier, for instance, like how many trials did it take trying to evolve, and it just exploded itself, right?
And when someone says yes, but natural selection, Christians, of course, everyone believes in natural selection. If by that you mean this, if you throw 100 dogs into the Arctic and you come back 50 years from now, if any of them have survived, it will obviously be the ones with the longer hair that can run longer, that can hunt better. We all
Correct.
understand.
Correct.
So then, after a couple generations, the only dogs left will be ones with long hair. We all understand
Makes
that.
sense to me.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about initially, how did those life beings come? Because if you believe in, we'll call it secular materialism. If you believe in that, and you believe that everything happens by chance, before we even get to where did nothing come from and all that stuff, you have to believe at some point that life came from non-life. Life came from non-life. That's what you have to buy into.
It's illogical.
It's a contradiction in terms. And I find it interesting. Some atheists will use the eternal argument the universe has always been here, but most of them don't go that route. They go for a finite universe. It does make me laugh a little. Now, as Christians, of course, we believe that we should be good stewards of what God has given us, take care of what He has given us. We believe that. But my point is this. Isn't it ironic when you have atheists who complain about how global warming and climate change will lead to destruction of the universe, are admitting that there is an end or a potential end that can bring about, that the sun will burn out. And well, if there's a definite end, that means there was a definite beginning.
Correct.
If you believe in the eternality of the universe, then you shouldn't ever complain about global warming or climate change.
That is correct.
You can't have it both ways. If you believe that there is sensitivity in the universe and there is an end in sight and things are wearing down and things are breaking. Well, things are wearing down and breaking down. That means they had a start point. If they had a start point, who's the creator?
It had to have a start point.
Eternal things don't wear down. They've always,
You said it way
and
better
if,
than I
and
did.
if you're going to believe in something like evolution, where it's a natural progression of things, then you have to accept that. It just has to be part of it.
In finishing up this 3,000 gods argument, I did want to say one thing. I want to see what y'all think about this.
Okay.
My argument to that is always, if it were me, my argument's always the same. 3,000 gods, why this one? Competition does not negate the reality of the objective truth. For me, it proves it. And I think I said this last Wednesday night, and I've heard other believers say this before too. A mimicking proves the value and worth of the thing being mimicked.
Of the original, yes.
What was the old saying your grandma used to say? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So, my example Wednesday was Nike shoes. How many fake Nike tennis shoes are on the planet right now?
Go to Chinatown, I don't know.
Right.
A lot.
How many fake Skechers are there?
Quite a bit.
Like probably 3 as compared to Nike.
Oh, right,
Yeah, right.
I see where he's going with
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I was gonna say like who would make a sketch?
Right, that's my point.
I mean,
my point.
right.
The reason why the 3,000 gods, and if God has value and worth, then it's something worth being mimicked, and something others, including spiritual beings, as we have seen in the history of the Bible before, would try to emulate, copy, mimic. The competition proves the validity of. When I see forgeries in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th centuries after Jesus of people pretending to be the apostles writing scripture, that proves the value, worth. In other words, those were things worth trying to mimic and copy and make forgeries of, which proves that they were in circulation and wanting to be valued early on. Does that make sense?
That is very true.
So the 3,000 gods thing, every time an atheist brings up that argument, I said, you are proving my point. Competition proves there's something worth competing for.
And speaking about that, I don't know if this is, I've heard this before, but every civilization that has ever existed has worshipped some sort of god or deities. So it seems that it is engraved within our human nature to worship something.
It is. I've read that there are 2 things that you can find in every culture around the world. Worshiping some form of deity and music.
Music.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, the biggest book in the Bible, or I should say, one of the
Most
biggest books in the Bible. Yeah.
Sets of,
Wow.
Music.
Cool.
Well, it's interesting. Vodi Balka made this point a couple of years ago. Brother who's gone on to be with the Lord from Texas,
Recently.
I think he was from. Yeah, very recently. He, hold on before I lose my train of thought. It's gone. It'll be back soon. So while I wait for that
Must
to
have
come
been a
back,
lie.
while I wait for that to come back, man, what was I just saying about it?
We're talking about how gods are in every culture, music is in every culture.
It really is gone. That's very disappointing.
And-
You remember what I was gonna say?
He was. They were both on the wrong path. He kept choosing the wrong path, and he did not. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Music
it's
and
gone.
Psalms.
Yeah,
Biggest book.
It'll hit him back.
I'll
Most
come
chapters.
back. It'll
5
come back.
minutes,
It'll
count
come
it.
back. All right, Hector hat back on.
Welcome, Hector.
Hi, Hector.
Hector the atheist.
I'm gonna be a country atheist here. And
Oh,
then there's
boy.
there's 4 of them. They do exist. Now, explain this to me. I don't understand.
Nope.
Y'all complaining about where Big Bang come from, matter, all that stuff. Where's your God come from? If you're gonna ask me where did Big Bang come from, why are we laughing back there? I just want to know.
You reminded her of somebody.
Where did that God come from? I'm reminding her of her future hopeful husband. She wants him to talk. She wants him to talk like this.
Straight back there.
Yeah. So, anyway,
So you're assuming that God is a physical being like us, right? So God is spirit. And spirit, as being spirit, he is eternal. No beginning or end. He's always been.
The uncaused cause.
The uncaused cause.
in other words, if someone says where did God come from, they're assuming the wrong God. We believe in a God that does
Right.
not. Now you mock us for that, but in order to get around the idea of there being a God, you either must create an eternal universe, which all the evidence points against, or you have to backtrack it further and say something else, whether you want to call them aliens or higher, whatever, created this world, which is no crazier.
Well, if you think about it, like
Scientology, right?
right. Like any mythology, you've got these player characters that seems like an otherworldly soap opera. I mean, it's no different than As the World Turns. If you think about it, they're all personified as mimicking what we know.
And I guess the question is also flawed because the God of the Bible is outside of time, space, and matter.
Yeah.
To ask, where did God come from, that would involve he was in time, space, and matter. So he can't be originally in something that he created.
Or
Yeah.
trying to suggest that there's another time, space, and matter somewhere else.
Correct.
Yeah, your example earlier of the phone, I look at that, the person that created this phone is not in that phone. He must be outside of it. Well, the being that created this universe must be outside of it. If he's part of it, then he cannot be the creator of it.
Correct.
All right, I think we're done with that for a minute. We could do the, we've done this before, but they're cheap shots on the Bible. But before we do that, I've got a couple to throw at you. Obviously consciousness from non-consciousness, order from chaos. We kind of talked about that a little bit. I had an interesting point. James Tour, a chemist, a believing chemist, asked this question. He was asking secular materialist atheists.
Mm-hmm.
They said the cells were dying. And he said, when you say a cell dies, what do you mean? What did we just lose? What is actually lost?
Like cells in general?
Yeah, from an unbeliever. He's a believer. He was asking the unbelievers, what happens when something dies? What did we actually lose?
Energy? Is that what we're talking about? The energy leaves?
Well, the point is, it's kind of unanswerable. What the unbeliever means when something dies is they means it ceases to function.
It ceases to function.
Okay.
But here's the real question. Let's take a dead fly.
Okay.
Let's say you kill it on your kitchen counter because it's eating your food, whatever, and it's sitting right there. All the components for life are still right there, far more organized than they were before the Big Bang, far more organized than they were after the Big Bang. They are all right there. Flesh, everything that's needed is right there. Why does it not come back to life?
The system that keeps it alive has ceased.
Exactly. If evolution were true, why can that not reform to create life? In other words, and if before someone mocks me, that's what you're saying happened. How did life come from non-life? And right there you have 5 seconds ago a living insect, 5 seconds later a dead insect. What did we lose? Well, if life came from non-life and order came from chaos, why do those never come back to life?
So if you swat a fly and you kill it, so by that you should be able to go in, do a little operation, fix what was broken, and it should fly off.
Now you understand what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And it should be able to do it mindlessly. You just talked about you and I jumping in and
So
trying
an intelligent designer going in and intervening.
Right.
So why
intervener.
hasn't the natural design self-repair?
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
Exactly. So, for example, you will see some atheists promoting the idea that scientists created life in a lab. Well, what they created were some proteins. To do that, they had to input the right substances and remove the harmful substances from chemical reactions. I shouldn't say harmful, just the ones not conducive to life. You're proving intelligent design because you're having to input chemicals to make them react.
Right, but at the same time, they didn't create.
So there's no spontaneous generation.
Everything else was already there.
Okay.
Every time and create's not the right word, we form not a new substance, a substance by combining others, we're proving intelligent design.
Well,
we're saying that there had to be intelligence.
Like 20 years ago, a team of scientists go to God and say, hey, God, we finally figured out how to create life.
Yeah.
Okay, show me. And so they, scoop some dirt about, and God's like, no, create your own dirt.
Yeah. Create your own dirt. You're using my dirt.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that so much.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, so here's an interesting one. I really like this one. And this one is not original to my brain, but I have developed it. 7-day weeks. All right. I believe a 7-day week is excellent evidence for the existence of Yahweh God.
I'm listening.
So I am too.
Yeah.
I was going to say, explain.
Let's use Will Smith as our example. I think everyone can name at minimum 4 good Will Smith movies. At maximum, probably 8, but at minimum 4.
iRobot.
Let's go.
iRobot, I was going to say.
iRobot.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Legend. It's also good.
I Am Legend.
I like both of those. I'm going to go original Men in Black.
Okay.
Okay? And when I say good, I mean fun. I don't mean well made. Everyone got that? I mean fun. Okay. Do y'all remember his little memory loss stick?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Look at it, smile at the camera.
I used to have my own.
I wish I had.
That was a trick question. You should have said, no, I forgot.
Oh.
That's what you should have said. Anyway, let's pretend.
I was going a different route with that.
Let's pretend, boom, okay, we have lost all creative knowledge, all technology, and there's 100 of us in the woods somewhere. We got to start over. We know that we have the natural instinct to want to survive, to work together, but we've lost memory on civilization, things like that. All right. How long, and I'm going to, because obviously time exists outside of our discovery of it, how long would it take before we rediscover a day? Well, probably a few days, because we would say, okay, that bright yellow thing, I don't know what to call it yet.
So you're talking about all knowledge.
I mean, yes.
We go carnal. We
wake up and...
Boom.
Wow, I feel something that is not comfortable.
And
it's hot.
we still have the ability to communicate with each other, but that's it. Okay? All right.
I'll follow.
That bright yellow thing in the sky.
Yes.
White thing. We call it yellow. Whatever. It shows up, and then it got dark again, and then it came back. And we would notice a pattern, and let's say we called it day. We would rediscover a day in a few days. We would recognize the pattern. It wouldn't take us long.
No.
It would take us a while, but if we paid attention to the stars and the moon, we could rediscover a month based on the lunar cycle. We could rediscover a month. We would say, okay, it goes small to big to small, start over.
Yes.
Okay? Maybe if we lived by the ocean, it'd be even faster. We would find it faster with tidal waves, but at least we would rediscover the lunar cycle and we would recognize a month, give or take. If you give us enough time, we would rediscover a year, because we'd have to write down notes for our next generations. We would say, all right, it got really cold and everything died. Things came back to life. It got really hot. Things started dying. It got really cold again. We would recognize that, right? We would never rediscover a week, because there is nothing in nature that is based off 7 days. There is no natural explanation or phenomenon for a week.
I see what you're saying.
Do you know why everyone on this planet operates on a 7-day week? Because on the first day God created, on the second day God created, on the seventh day He rested. Everyone on this planet operates on a 7-day week because Yahweh said. Now,
fascinating.
Is that not fascinating? Now, here's what an atheist will say. Now, I'm not talking about the names of days. Those are, some of them are pagan, some
Roman.
Roman. Okay, I'm talking about the 7-day week in general. There's nothing in nature. The atheist, if they have ever thought deeply about this, will point out that the Romans had a 7-day week based on the 7 major celestial bodies. So I think at that time they had the moon, the sun, the earth, Mars. Spanish days help you. Lunes is moon. Martes is Mars.
No kidding.
Yeah, Thursday in English, Thor's day. From Thor. Sun.
I'm actually shocked you don't know
I
that
could
one.
have used
Because
that for my pagan.
lunar.
Yes, you could have.
Well, Monday it's just spelled wrong because moon, Monday.
Yeah.
Same in Spanish, lunes for lunar. Martes is Mars.
Fascinating.
See, Sunday is sun.
What is
Anyway,
Miraculous?
okay, Wednesday.
Mercury.
Is that right?
Mercury. Sounds like
Oh,
Mercury.
you're probably right. Why do we use Wednesday in English? I don't remember. Here's my point.
Wedding? I don't know.
My point is they'll try to give a Roman explanation for it.
Okay.
The problem is the Jewish documents that we call the Torah predate Rome by quite a long
bit.
Quite a
time.
bit.
1,500 years. The origin of a 7-day week as we know it, the earliest documentation we have is the book of Genesis. So, every time an atheist uses the phrase weekend, they are giving glory to God.
Wow. That's neat.
It's amazing because, they tried to change the calendar from BC and AD to not celebrate. So they used to, well, now they need to get rid of a 7-day week.
2025. From what happened 2025 years ago?
Why is that the common era? Would you explain to me what happened in that time frame that made that the common era? If you're going to do that, it should be the Industrial Revolution. We should be in the year 200. If you wanted to make the common era, that should be, or I don't know, Renaissance, I don't know, something.
Not Renaissance.
Anyway, the point I'm making is this. I think the 7-day week is excellent evidence for the Creator. Thoughts?
I think that's excellent.
No, that's 100% spot on.
I love the simplicity of it. I like that nothing that we've stated is PhD level knowledge. It
No.
is common
Right.
sense. Anybody, whether you have been a Christian a week, a month, a year. I mean, this is something that you can pick up and effectively debate anybody in college about. I mean, this is very simple, common sense things.
So, my next one. In discussion of time, space, and matter, time, space, and matter. Part of our irreducible complexity talk earlier is I would think scientifically you would have to say time, space, and matter all came into being at the same time.
It would have to.
Because if there's no space, where would you put the matter?
Correct.
When did this happen? Yeah, okay. So from an atheistic, materialistic only standpoint, and when I say materialistic, I mean people who believe matter is all we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, matter is it. What exploded at the Big Bang? What exploded?
It was a little speck of energy that held enough energy to produce everything that we see in the infinity that it is.
Amen. But from a materialistic standpoint, energy is still matter, or at minimum. Well, I mean, it's matter in motion. I mean,
matter in motion.
It's matter in motion. So it is an infinite regress at some level, but you can't even say infinite because it's a time thing. Where did that come from? I have never gotten a satisfactory answer for that. Have either of you?
No.
Ever.
Let's be honest. I'm willing to hear any argument because if we find out that the Bible is fake, I'm not going to believe in the Bible. It's not like I'm blindly loyal to this.
That's correct.
I'm open to all truth.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
This has been the most supreme truth. If an atheist comes with a argument that is far superior than this, and there's evidence upon evidence, I'll believe easy.
I'll give proof of that. Maybe not from the Bible. I don't immediately latch on as true to every Christian claim ever made. Like when I hear someone say, "We found the Ark." We found the Ark of the Covenant, or we found Noah's Ark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't immediately say, "Well, that's definitely true." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's
test every spirit." What was that?
Exactly.
1 John chapter
Right.
4?
Like for me, this is Josiah. Josiah is not yet convinced that the Shroud of Turin. I can't pronounce that word.
Turin.
Turin, the one that supposedly is over.
Turin.
I have not yet. Turin.
I didn't know it existed
I think
until
so.
a couple months ago.
I am not yet convinced.
Oh, it's been around for a while.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not yet convinced of the legitimacy of that, and it might be. I am not yet convinced of that. That's me.
Okay, so whether it is or not,
It's
what is
not-
it going to affect any?
Because my foundation is the Scripture,
Thank you.
and of course the things in the world will be evidentiary to that because the Scripture is true.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that every Christian claim in the world is immediately true.
Okay,
Correct.
so let's go down that rabbit hole for a second.
Let's go.
Okay, so let's say, hypothetically, that is accurate, that it is truly the Shroud of Christ. Who's to say that some scientist somewhere is not going to try to pull something to try to scrape the DNA and recreate the being that was wrapped around? And then how effective would that be? Because then for the people that follow Christ as strictly physical and not having God in him, what does that do?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine what Jesus' chromosomes looked like without
I'm Googling right
without
now.
an earthly
24
father?
chromosomes. Or
46 total. Is that right? 26?
No, well, it's always 23 pairs.
23 pairs.
Yeah, it's always 23 pairs. I'm saying, what does his look like without a human father?
See, speaking of claims,
Have you ever thought about what if God gave him Joseph's chromosomal DNA without having Joseph be the
You smell that?
I don't know, a PG way to
Heresy.
word it.
So
I'm
what,
smelling it so far. We're inching towards
What if
this.
you think
Pastor
about it,
Jeremiah, where
though?
you at?
I mean, God created Adam out of
We're inching towards
We're
it.
inching
God
towards
created Adam out of the dust,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, what was
From dust.
What did
we were
Adam's
made,
what did
right?
Adam's DNA?
So why would that be so far fetched that God didn't?
yeah, I mean,
implant,
obviously,
if you will.
Now, just to be clear,
whatever
there is
set
no
of-
scriptural evidence for what I just
No, no,
said.
no,
I was just
no.
now. Here is a question for Matt only.
Oh, thanks.
Who are the three men in the Bible who never had an earthly father?
Oh, that's good.
An earthly biological father.
An earthly biological father? 3?
Three. Start with the obvious.
Yeah, Adam.
Adam,
Okay, Christ.
Jesus. The
Eve.
book. No, men.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The answer is Joshua. The Bible says he was the son of none.
I've heard that.
A lot of smirks and
And I'm the
smiles
youth
and
leader.
giggles.
I was gonna say like Melchizedek or something.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
I mean,
No
maybe.
origin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
So I got a couple more here. Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. So some Christians will refer to this next branch as presuppositional apologetics.
Okay.
And what Christians mean when they use that term, and what we mean when we use that term, is this: that the question should always be asked, by what standard?
Correct.
So let's start with morality.
Mm-hmm.
We Christians, as Christians, we believe not that Christians have a monopoly on morals and ethics, in that we recognize there are many morally and ethically upright atheists in the world. We admit that.
Yes.
What we're asking is, on what basis? What is the reason?
Exactly.
That's what we're asking.
So and here's
MIT student, by the way.
this is going way before. One of the things that made me not happy to be whether Satanist or atheist was the question on morals. Because my thought was, if I have zero moral standard, and it wasn't that literal thought, but if I have no God to judge me at what I'm doing, why can't I do whatever it is that I want?
Correct.
I based what I did or didn't do by if I was going to go to jail or not.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other stuff, all the stuff that I knew that I could get away with without, having to worry about going to jail, why not?
No cop,
but
no
then
stop.
I kept thinking, is if I believe that, or if I set this standard for myself and say you who are another atheist but have their own sets of standards, and you are a third one with your third set of standards, how is that going to work in the whole as a whole, I should say, when all of us are basing our own by our own standards? How is that going to
How do you form a
help?
civilization
Right,
with that type of
Okay.
mentality?
Right, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, life is good because of you, Matt. I just remembered my thought from 40 minutes ago, and it's not leaving. How great was that? And
Send it.
fits into where we were just at.
Good.
Thank you. You said, how do you form a civilization? So, before I lose it again, Vody Baucham's point was this: the presuppositions of relativism, of might makes right, of no objective absolute standard.
Mm-hmm.
We as humans have tried that a few times before.
Mm-hmm.
And
continue
those
to.
gentlemen's names are Pol Pot, Joseph Stalin, and Mao, where belief in God and theism in general was outlawed by the state. And just in those three examples, the body count is in the tens of millions. We don't really even know, but in the tens of millions. Okay? While we are not saying the practitioners of biblical Christianity, which is redundant, there's no such thing as non-biblical Christianity, the practitioners are perfect and have not done horrific things.
Correct.
We are talking about the ideas themselves. Well, the ideas themselves of biblical Christianity built the foundation for Western civilization. We're not talking about the practitioners. We're talking about the ideas at face value, on ideas alone, before human agents try to complete them.
Right.
The ideas of relativism, of non-objective morals, led to the abuse and the ruin that communism brought about. That the 20th century was the bloodiest century in the history of the planet, and not just because population, because of war.
Slaughter.
Okay? Whereas the ideas of Christianity brought about Western civilization. So, yeah, I think the point that Matt and Christian, before we get to Hector, the point that Matt and Christian made was that presuppositionally, by what standard, when an atheist says that's not right or that's not fair, based on what? But Hector has a question first.
So
He changed skin tones.
But
He's like Randall from Monsters Inc.
right, I just blend in wherever. I'm a social chameleon. Okay, so by what you are saying, if the standard has to be Christian based, then explain to me why all these campaigns throughout history have shed so much blood in the name of Jesus, trying to get people to convert. How is that any different from the communism that you complain about right now?
What's amazing is even the atheist can point out, thank you, Hector, for that question. Christians who do that are doing so in spite of the teachings of the Bible, so that even the unbeliever can note that it's inconsistent with biblical teaching. Whereas, if there is no God, the scripture says, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Mm-hmm. That's what the scripture says. If there is no resurrection, if Jesus really is not God, right. Eat, drink. So in other words,
enjoy what you got, right?
Exactly. It's going to end.
And here's my example always, and people hate when I use this example, which is why I use it so much.
Correct.
Nobody has ever gotten on to a lion for eating other animals alive. For the percentage of sex in the animal kingdom that is rape is very high.
Incest.
Mm-hmm.
And eating of young, murder, theft.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the most vile. Okay? Now. No one ever gets on the animals for doing that. Why do you for humans if we are just evolved animals? I can tell you why I do. Because we are made in the image of God and have to answer to a Creator who said we're not allowed to do those things. But if there were no God, then consistency would say that you should get on to the primates for doing that. That you should get on to the rabbits for doing that. Mm-hmm. You should get on to the hyenas for doing that. But you don't, because you know there's something different about us. And it's not just we have a more developed brain.
Correct.
So, our argument, and y'all make sure I'm framing this in a way you agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Our argument is not that an atheist cannot be morally upright and ethically true. Our argument is there is no reason to be. And
no reason to be.
It's a personal preference at that point.
Personal preference. It's how you want to blend or contribute to society.
Correct.
And someone may ask, then why is it superior? This is Hector. So why is it superior? I, the atheist, see this as the only life we get, and thus the true altruism is living this life as best for others, not because I'll get rewarded in heaven for it, but because I just want to be a good person.
But isn't that what Jesus teaches anyways?
What's that?
To love one another.
I think the atheists, of course, we don't believe in a works-based salvation. The point is this. The atheist who is morally upright and the atheist who believes might makes right are both operating under what their worldview allows, which is relative morality. And one cannot be more right than the other. Whereas we believe in objective morality, that it doesn't matter what Christian, Matt, or Josiah thinks. We believe there is a moral lawgiver. Mm-hmm. If there are laws, there's a lawgiver, and he determines how the three of us have to live.
Right.
One more.
Send it.
And then open mic for the rest of the time. Now, this is just a thought I have. And this is us going on the offensive a little bit. We've dealt with a little bit of some questions from what an atheist might ask. By the way, if you are an atheist listening to this, of course you're allowed to comment, but commenting is easy. We would prefer and we would love to, if possible, to set up, have someone call in sometime.
That'd be actually really cool.
That would be awesome.
We would love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Memphis, come by and sit right here with us, not for a argument, for a discussion. That's what we would prefer. At any rate, here's a question I have. Many atheists will admit that we are merely protoplasm, matter in motion, that we are merely results of unguided processes of chemical reactions in our brain. So the reason you like what you like is chemical reactions in your brain. Mm-hmm. The reason why you believe the way you believe is chemical reactions in your brain.
Our legal system would grind to a halt.
No, watch this. And that
I used
everything.
to believe that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
then perfect. Then you don't have to reach in some arbitrary. You can just reach in your memory.
Yeah.
Okay. that we are all merely the product of mindless, unguided processes in our brain of chemical reactions that react based on our experience?
Mm-hmm.
If that is true, then I think we should never criminalize anyone or anything because it was out of their control. In other words, if we're really, our reactions are based out of
Exactly.
chemical
Kinda
reactions,
fits back with what I was saying before. Exactly.
then why is anybody wrong for ever doing something?
Right.
You have no law, no justice.
None.
It's just animal kingdom, wildness.
Yeah, but even in the animal kingdom, you have the quasi societies with the packs and the prides. It's that's just how it is.
How would you have answered that question in your atheistic days? The question of, well, then, should we criminalize anything?
Well, that was the conundrum, because I knew that there had to be something different for this to work, and for even if settling on a cycle type theory that it happened before, it's going to happen again kind of thing. That was my no beginning and no end, right? It still didn't work because my morals are going to be different from his, from yours, from whoever else. And for us to react and act and react like that, it would never work. It would collapse. It would never get to the point where we're making cinder blocks or, harnessing the powers of electricity.
We'd be mud people at best.
I know some electricians.
At best, mud people.
I love electricity. Love it with a passion.
That's shocking.
My hair is curly to prove it.
You positive about that?
Stop being so negative,
charges.
Chris.
Yeah.
I'm neutral on it.
Oh.
I'm trying. I don't know.
Grounded in truth over there.
We can keep this going. I'll stop right there.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's some alternating
I'm gonna
current.
have to induct anything on this.
All right. Last comments on atheism. I shouldn't even say last. We're not in the rush here, but what I'm getting at is last comments, thoughts on atheism, a Christian response to it, or just a message to an atheist of showing them the error of their ways.
One of the biggest things that I had to get past was accepting the fact that we couldn't have our own sets of morals, right? It's not going to work like even politically speaking, I'm libertarian, but I do at the end of the day understand that there has to be some kind of governmental oversight to protect the personal boundaries that we have.
You can't be a pure anarchist.
Right, right, exactly. And one of the other things I had to get past just before I did submit to Christ was the fact that of hypocrites in church. And that's I'm going to say an excuse that a lot of atheists will hold on to, whether or not that's the primary. That's the one that they're going to speak on, right? That's what I always did. And I had to understand and realize, going back to my moral argument with myself, is that if me as a Satanist or an atheist, whatever you want to brand, whatever it is, if I'm not going to act on what I want because of the chemical reactions or the endorphins or whatever, then I myself am being a hypocrite. And if I'm going to tell you that you're wrong because I think it's wrong, even though you don't think it's wrong, then which one of us is a hypocrite? So hypocrisy is not just in the church. That's just a human element.
Correct.
That's good.
So what I would say to an atheist is I really fall back on Jude 22, where Jude tells us, have mercy on those that doubt. We didn't get it the first time either.
No, absolutely not.
We didn't get it the first time either. And, I'll apologize on behalf of arrogant Christians who've called you stupid. We are also fallen human beings. Even though we claim Christ, we are still a work in progress.
Correct.
But we want you to know that the real Christians, the real church, we offer you love in a safe place. Mm-hmm. We welcome you into our building, and you will be loved like a family member. But I also want to point out that faith still remains to be the method of salvation, faith in Jesus Christ. That there's no amount of evidence that you could have that would save you. It remains in Hebrews 11:6 that without faith it is impossible to please God, for you must believe that he exists. And if you are one of those people that say, why doesn't God just reveal himself? Then I'd believe, yeah, that happened 2,000 years ago and they nailed him to a cross. So even if he were to break through all of creation and reveal himself, people would still rebel. There's still that factor of faith that you need to walk into, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. It makes all of us uncomfortable. It's faith.
Any conversation that has to happen is uncomfortable.
Correct. But it's never blind faith, though. There is evidence, and there's plenty of evidence, and we are more than happy to sit down with you to talk, because everyone in here is a questioner. Nobody here is following this blindly. We didn't sign up for this just to sit on a podcast.
And we're not plugged into some kind of brainwashing where you believe the same as Josiah or I. We're all different. We have different histories, different backgrounds, different beliefs. I mean, we all three of us here bring something different to this table and to this cast.
Correct.
And it's such a beautiful thing.
And bringing more people in here doesn't mean I make more money. I mean, we're going to vote on January how much I make. I have my own job. I make good money at my job. So I'm really just doing this. We're doing this here for the people. We're not doing it to benefit, to take from you. We're here to give.
Mm-hmm.
My last thought kind of reverts back to our presuppositional talk earlier. And I think I mentioned this on the podcast a few episodes ago. Maybe I didn't. Tom Holland, not the Spider-Man guy.
Oh!
Not the Spider-Man guy, but another Tom Holland from England. Another Tom Holland from England. Tom is the most British name of all time.
I thought you were going to say Holland.
No, well, Holland, yeah. So, he wrote a book called Dominion. And it's about Western civilization. And I have not read it yet. I just listened to him lecture on it. I have not read it yet. His PhD, I believe, his concentration is in study of Christian history, especially in the Middle Ages, Crusades, things like that. He knows a lot about the Crusades. And he still would not, he would classify himself, his words are, I'm an unbeliever. No, I disagree with this. He says, I'm an unbeliever who's a Christian. He said, I'm an atheistic Christian.
Intelligent design with a splash of Christianity.
Watch. Here's what he gets at. He said, I hated the idea of Christianity while I was studying it, doing my PhD. Hated the idea of Christianity. I studied the Crusades and the murder and the bloodshed and the rape. And
very antichrist, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, he grew up in England, keep in mind. He goes, and then it came to me, and it occurred to me one day. The only reason I felt uncomfortable in studying Christian history was for deeply Christian reasons. In other words, the only reason I cared that those people suffered is because I believed there was intrinsic value in individual human beings, which is a Christian idea. And he said, I'm not allowed to be upset about this unless I accept the Christians are right and that there is a moral objective standard, and they were not meeting up to it. Me noticing their inconsistencies proves that I am taking them at face value, that there's actually, he goes, who's to say there's individual human worth? And this is the point is, if we are all just accidents and mindless processes, he said, this is what he said, everyone living in Western civilization, whether they're an atheist or a Christian or a Buddhist or Muslim, are swimming in Christian waters.
Correct.
And he said, we all believe humans have individual value. Our entire system, legal system, everything is based on that idea. Because if you live in the West, you are all at least, and this is a quote from a little Christian. He said,
no, that's actually very true.
It is. That was his point. He goes, so I don't know what I am yet, but I claim to be an atheist, and yet I believe people have individual worth, which is an anti-atheistic idea.
Yeah, very much so.
So at least he's being consistent.
Wow.
Isn't that a great quote?
Yeah. I even think public education comes from the Christians.
Well, so
yes,
it not as it currently sits, but the idea behind it.
Correct. The idea behind everyone.
Wasn't it to teach how to read the Bible and how to study it?
Yes. Where did I read that from?
Well, in what was called the New World, since people came over here before the King James Bible was published, the Geneva Bible from the 1500s, the first popular English Bible, Wycliffe in the 1300s and Bishop's Bible. That was the school book. That's how you learned to read. That's how you, that was
Fascinating.
Well, I read this morning. You took nothing in this world, you can take nothing out. You brought nothing in this world, you can take nothing out. That's 1 Timothy 6. I was going over how many phrases in our English vocabulary, at least in our country, come from the Bible. People have no idea.
You mentioned Cretan. Was it you that mentioned
Cretans
Cretan?
are liars and gluttons.
That's where we get the word Cretan from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Crete.
It is better to is more blessed to give than receive. He wouldn't lift a finger to help me. That's from the Bible. Go the extra mile. That's from the Bible. All these are from the Bible. Many of them are from the Sermon on the Mount.
Crazy.
Yeah, and people don't realize how much of that comes from the Bible. Our language, the way we talk, comes from the English Bibles.
Swimming in Christian waters is
That's a good
really
line.
Good.
That's a good line.
That's very good.
Well, guys, if you liked what you heard, or maybe even more importantly, if you didn't like what you heard, please drop a comment. Be like a Sonic car hop. Drop a mint in the bag right there, so we can learn. A lot of laughs going on here. Hope they've done their surveys. We can learn. Hey, we prefer to do a part 2 on atheism with an atheist in the room.
Not a former.
A former works. Now, preferably not someone online making a comment, but someone here.
Yeah.
If they're in Memphis, we prefer that. We are not above or afraid of challenges to ideas. I really want to hear a challenge to a 7-day creation, by the way, and to moral relativism. But at any rate, like, share, subscribe, comment. You can send an email to listenpointtaken@gmail.com. That's listenpointtaken@gmail.com. You drop a comment, do all that stuff, and we appreciate you guys listening. Any suggestions you have, bring it on. Until next time, we love you.
Ma, and me, ma.
Yeah, Meemaw, Grandma.